Hi, this is Ryan Downard. My presentation for CS 1010, the final project. The game is called Math It Up. I'm the only one working on the project, so let's go ahead and dive in. Math It Up is as it sounds, a game for math. You basically use your basic operators such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It's intended for people who want to learn how to get better at those. The game is intended for tablets or phones because these are pretty prominent in schools, and every kid at home can get access to one if they need to, if they want to start playing on one. So let's dive into the details of what the game involves. Most math games involve taking an equation that's placed in front of you, such as 2 times 5, and you have to answer what it equals. So obviously that equals 10. But Math It Up takes a different approach, which hopefully gets people thinking outside of the box when it comes to their mathematical thinking. So basically what it does is it gives you 9 numbers and a solution that you need to get. So let's take, for example, the solution is 45. And let's say that some of the numbers are 3, 3, 9, and 5. So your options are you could take 3 times 5 equals 15 times 3 equals 45. Or you could take 9 times 5 equals 45. And then after you use those numbers, they would disappear and you'd have to find another way to reach 45, whether it's through multiplication or addition or any of those means. Basically, you're given the numbers, you're given the operators, and you need to get there. Hopefully, I feel like this is way different. It's something that gets people thinking. Instead of saying, do you know how to do this math? It's, here's this math, show me that you know how to do it. I'm not going to give you any suggestions, you have point A, point B, get there. The target audience is going to be kids who are anywhere between 1st grade and 6th grade. Doesn't mean that it has to be that age, obviously, but those are going to be the type of people who are trying to learn math. Obviously, it can go all the way up to 12th grade or even outside of high school if you feel like you need to improve math. The game will apply to you, but the game is intended to be educational, so hopefully we can get those kids learning that stuff before they get onto more complicated math, such as algebra and trigonometry and all that stuff, where it involves a lot heavier math, but still you're using addition, subtraction, and hopefully if you know that you can get to one solution using a different way, then you can take a look at an equation and say, sure, I don't know how to do it 100% this way, but if I start to piece together all of these smaller things, I can get to the answer. And so that's what I think Math It Up can help them do. The target audience may extend to parents and teachers who realize that either a student or their child is struggling with math. So they download the game and they give it to them and they say, hey, why don't you use this for a little bit? You know, most kids already play games, so you say, how about you play this for 30 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever the time frame is, and just get used to how to do math. And hopefully over time, they start to have fun and stop thinking about it as I'm asking you to do this, and start to go to play Math It Up as a way of having fun. And then as they're going along, they're actually learning how to do math better. The game will provide a story and an arcade mode. The story mode is a way for them to get distracted from the fact that they're doing math and they're being told something, but the arcade mode is, okay, I enjoyed this specific style of the game and I want to practice this operator, so I'm going to play the arcade mode to do that. Or maybe they want to get points because there's going to be a point system where they can earn points and purchase like customization stuff for their character or any number of things that they want to do. This is the main menu that will show up when the game launches. And so it's pretty straightforward. The story mode goes right to where you left off or starts at the beginning. The save mode isn't like, hey, I'm in the middle of a level, so I'm going to stop playing and save my position. No, it's at the end of every level, it's going to save, and then when you return back, you'll be starting at the next level. If you stop in the middle of a level and quit or whatever, close the app, then you're going to start at the previous save point, which would be the beginning of the level you were currently playing. The arcade mode allows you to go in and select the specific types of games that it'll offer. So there's like block selection, block destroy, cloud chaser, or animal roundup. And then you can go in and say, okay, I want to practice my multiplication because I feel like it's doing really bad, or I can practice my division because I just feel like that sucks. And then customize is going to be a way for them to customize their character, whether it be the hat, the hair color, the eye color, the clothing, all these things. And as they earn points, they can get more customization that's going to be more outrageous. So the default character might have like a kind of a typical adventure hat like you'd see on like Indiana Jones, but maybe they're like a hardcore biker. They want to go for the hardcore biker look. Obviously the kid wouldn't be a biker, but maybe that's something that they think looks really cool on the character or whatever. And then the settings button goes in and they can select colorblind options or noise levels or additional various noises that they aren't interested or something. They can toggle those off, so like when they click on something it doesn't make a noise. This is how the game will typically look out for most levels. So this one really shows off the basic or the block selection game mode. So the user will go in and just tap one of these blocks, and as you can see it's highlighted. All these other ones are not selected, and go through and select this as one of the actions that they want to do. And this goal here is the option for what they want to reach. So 45 is the answer that they want to get using these blocks off to the right and these operators. There's a pause button, so if they want to stop midway, but when they pause it's going to darken the screen. That way they can't hit pause and say, okay, I gotta get to 45 and I don't know which of these numbers get there, so I'm gonna pull out a calculator and type those in, and when I get the answer I'm gonna unpause and go in and enter those out. We want to prevent cheating in a sense. Then there's the timer, which will typically start at about 1 minute for the game, and then it goes down. Every time they get a correct solution, the number will bump up so that they can continue to have more time, but eventually they're going to run out of time, or they're going to run out of options, because these numbers will disappear after you get a solution. So the next numbers are going to be random. The numbers that initially show up, they'll all add up to the solution, or multiply to the solution, or subtract, whatever way that you want to get to it. They're all going to reach to it, but the next numbers that come are random, so eventually you're going to run out of solutions. This equal sign here seems a little confusing, I would guess, to a new player. So let's say that I want to select 3 times 5, and I hit an equal sign. It's going to give me an extra number that is 15, and then I can say, okay, well, I haven't selected this other 3, so I'm going to select that, and then hit equal, and I'm going to get 45. And then all those numbers disappear. But that provides it so that they don't have to just say, okay, how can I get here through just multiplication? It's how can I get here through all of these operators? Maybe I go really big. 9 times 8 isn't going to equal 45, but if I can get 9 times 8 and then start subtracting stuff, then I'm going to hopefully get a better answer. So that's pretty much the block selection mode. Their other game modes are block destroy, so it'll look like block selection, but instead of just kind of phasing out and being replaced with a new number, when they get a solution, it's going to explode, and then the blocks are going to fall down, and the numbers are going to shift position, and so they can't necessarily keep track of, oh, I used to have a 9 right next to my 6, but I got rid of my 6, and now it's further down or something. It kind of just creates a little more difficulty. Cloud Chaser is like block selection. They'll select a button, and the character in a plane will fly around it, marking that as selected, and they can continue to do that, and the clouds will poof off. So it's kind of just a different skin to the basic mode that they're used to playing. Animal Roundup is almost the same thing, except it's going to have animals marked as that number, and then whenever the previous numbers disappear, new animals are going to show up, and they might come in at different speeds, and depending on that speed, they might scare off the other animals and cause them to shift in all sorts of ways, which again creates another level of difficulty. The arcade mode is going to allow the player to select any one of these options, but the story mode is going to shift between these 4 modes with different kind of skins or layouts, and also require that they have to use specific operators. So instead of saying, hey, you have all 4 of these operators at your disposal, it's going to say, okay, you have 45, but you can't divide any of the numbers, or you can't subtract. So if you go over, you're going to need to be able to either divide that out or use whatever the remaining operators are, instead of just saying, I'm going to use all 4 of them. The story mode involves following a character who is named Thomas. He's going to kind of become this adventurer who just finished his studies as an anthropologist, and during his dissertation he discovered that maybe there's some mysteries to discover in the Middle East, so he's going to go over there, and you're going to kind of follow his story as he starts to investigate and discover this potential breakthrough that he started to piece together. Like I said before, as they're playing through the story mode, they're going to play each of the individual modes and maybe get a brief introduction if they haven't played them before, and then we're going to start to take things away and say, okay, you know what, you can't use this operator. I feel like this is a really good way for kids to kind of learn how to do math. I think about kind of how my mind thinks about math, and I really love math, and so this should hopefully kind of get people thinking outside of the box and get them really kind of loving math, hopefully, as we really want to get people to enjoy math, because it's not a bad thing. Just the context of it being in school and not understanding makes kids tend to hate it, and so hopefully a game that tailors to this would help them have fun with it. So there's my game, Math It Up. I hope you enjoyed it.